all this ruckus here? What's all this ruckus goings on? I don't even feel like trying to go around that. I don't even. Let me go down this way. That's okay. I will take the scenic route. Okay, so anyway, I feel like talking about this is a time when people need to learn to stick together. Because there's a lot of financial cuts happening. I was looking at somebody's video. Well, I'm gonna call her name. I was looking at Lovey T's video. It's called "Count Your Days," and I'm looking at it still, but I just felt like talking about this. And she's just discussing. Well, she's showing a multiple clips, news clips or whatever, from people who are affected by the job corps cuts. Okay, well, everything is so expensive that they can't afford to keep it going, basically. And this is a time for people to stop relying on the system. This is a time for people to stop relying on the system. I do not want to give any more, and just because that right there does not affect me personally, does not mean that it's not something I should look at, right? That doesn't mean it's not something that I shouldn't pay attention to. Because when you cut something, but then don't put anything in place after you cut it to benefit the people, that goes to show that you're clearly not working for the people. And you know what? The last administration, I don't think was working for the people either. I don't believe the last administration was working for the people either. Not when they were allowing a lot of people, foreigners, to come in and give them all kind of perks, meanwhile taking everything from United States citizens, right? So I don't think they were for the people either. A lot of people saw that. But this administration is not for. So I'm just saying, politicians, at this point, I just see them, politicians and the government right now, they are not for the people. We have a government that's not for the people. But who determines who is in charge that determines whether the government is for the people? Who's making the decisions? Because Trump cannot be the person that makes the last decision. It doesn't go to Congress. He's not the person that makes the ultimate decision. You have others that's higher than him that makes the final decision, and they tend to be okay with what's going on. So that lets you know we have a whole system that's just against the people. Okay. But anyway, no, I'm just going to talk briefly as I'm running some errands here, that this is a time for people to learn to come together. And this is a time to stop relying on the system, which is going to be hard to do if that's something that's the only thing you know. But at some point, it's just time to take everything little by little. It's time to take everything little by little, because it's getting. I'm becoming more and more aware that it's time to stop feeding the beast. It's time to stop feeding the beast. Okay, if this beast does not want to work in my favor, or basically when I say my favor, I'm talking about the favor of the people. If this beast does not want to work in my favor or the favor of humans, because the beast is not working in the favor of humans, then I don't want to give any more energy to it. I'd rather go somewhere and just literally, I talked about going off grid, go off grid, just live a very, very simple life where I'm not, live a very simple life and become who I. Listen, a lot of us, and I'm saying a lot of us, we have a lot of power. We've given so much of our power away, depending on the system. We have given so much of our power away. A lot of us are literally X-Men. We're literally X-Men, and we've given so much of our power away, working regular jobs and paying all these bills when they're using our energy. They're using our energy that we have to pay for, okay? And it's just coming to a time where this might be kind of a blessing in disguise. this might be a blessing in disguise that all of this stuff is happening, because it's causing people to learn not to depend on the system. So I'd rather look at the positive side of this instead of the negative side and being focused on the negative and woe is me. But sometimes when you're affected and you're kind of at that point you're left with nothing, it's hard not to say woe is me, because when you don't have a backup plan and it's like, damn, you just kind of left out there messed up, it's kind of hard at that time to say woe, to not say woe is me. But once things start to look up for you, once things really start to look up, then you'll see how the beauty in it all. You'll see the beauty in it all. Let's see here. I hope that's. Oh, that is too much. Let's go back. I forgot I can only take out this much at a time. Okay. Receipt. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Another. Yeah. I'm gonna look at some videos off grid, and I'm gonna decide if I want to go to this place with no Wi-Fi, because this stuff that they are doing, the electromagnetic radiation has really affected people badly. Check in 300. Let's continue. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm at the bank here. But anyway, what's up, guys? Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. Not guys, but ladies and gentlemen. What's going on? You know, my receipt. Moving on from that, yes, people need to learn to come together. I'm going to be honest with you about that, though. I realize that I'm in my subconscious mind. And I realize the world as I see it, even if when I look on social media, has everything to do with my shadow. When you don't have a shadow anymore, you don't see the world the way it is. You see the world differently as your shadow starts to disappear. Shadows, okay, shadows. You know, that's another thing I want to mention. People have more than one shadow when they don't realize it. When a person has more than one shadow, that lets me know that a lot of us have gotten to this point of enlightenment, and then there was a reset that set us back. And then we have to come to this point to relearn everything all over again. And then there was a reset and a reset. That lets me know that there was a reset. Okay, constant resets. Where people get to this level of enlightenment. I think that's what happened with Atlantis. How did that happen? You know how that happened, I feel? How do you get to this point of enlightenment and you get caught up in a reset where you go all the way backwards again? And then you get to this point of enlightenment again and you think it's all new. But really it's not all new. Oh, I'm going the wrong way, but that's okay. Really it's not all new. You just forgot because it was a reset and you went backwards again. Okay? And I'm going to tell you what I think a lot of this has to do with. The story that I heard about Atlantis, and I want to read about Atlantis. I want to read from an author that really has a truth. And that's why I'm funny about reading too much. It's good to read, but then you want to read facts. You don't want to read a bunch of stuff that's not even true. What's the point? Like, I'll just read novels if I do that. But, the story about Atlantis, supposedly, is just like what's happening right here with all of this technology. The people of Atlantis, they were doing well. They were becoming so enlightened. They were like really rising in consciousness. But they relied heavily on technology, the same that's what's happening right now, specifically in the United States of America. They relied heavily on technology. And because they relied heavily on technology, it caused Atlantis to fall like that. And to me, that seems like what's happening around these areas with all this technology. There's so much that a human being can rise to conscious wise when it's constantly inundated with technology. AI has literally merged with a lot, and that's why I'm saying I want to get away from Wi-Fi. I want to get away from technology. I want to get away from man-made technology, um, because I think that's what's going to cause people to get caught in that reset where they go backwards again. Like a reset can happen and you can continue to go in the right path, and then another reset can happen and people will go backwards again. And it's the exact thing with Atlantis. People were rising up in consciousness. They were doing well. It was looking good. And then all of a sudden, a reset happened, and then there you go, the fall of Atlantis. Okay, and that's to me, this looks like Atlantis right here. This looks like what we're seeing once again. And so, yeah, I think I've made up my mind that it's time to stop relying on this system, because this system not only is it not for the people, you are not going to be able to what people will call a sin. You won't be able to do that when you're around a bunch of man-made technology and AI. That's going to affect the human. That's going to affect your DNA. That's going to affect your DNA and everything, because this all this stuff that we're using is merging with our consciousness. And you can't ascend like that when you have all this technology and AI that's merging with your consciousness. And that's why people say they can think of something and all of a sudden they look on their phone or look at Google and they see it right there. All this stuff is merging with their consciousness. Okay, people talk about things that happen to them when they start using ChatGPT. It's merging with their consciousness. That to me, that sounds like a type of Neuralink. A Neuralink. To me, that sounds like a type of Neuralink. Okay. But yes, peoples, that's just basically what I'm talking about. That's kind of like the only thing that's really important for me right now is not to care about this world right now. Not to worry about, I was like laying down this morning or rising, and listen, I know that this is my subconscious mind, and I realize this is the afterlife. Basically, I'm in my subconscious. I'm basically in a type of dream state. In the real world where I am, it's kind of a part of the simulation, but it's more of the real world. It's above, it's not the underworld like this. Because like the underworld, I'm literally in my shadow. But in a world that's the real world, you're not in your shadow. You're not in the subconscious mind. You're like literally in the real world. And I forgot what I was going to say, doggone it. Well, so basically, that's what I realized is going on with me, that I'm literally in a coma, like I'm literally brain dead. Meaning there's no activity going on, because my conscious awareness is over here. It's not in my body in the real world. Even though I'm laying in a hospital bed, my conscious awareness is over here. And so if you ever wonder what happens to people when they're in their comas, what's going on, there's no brain activity, that means their souls went somewhere else. And this is where my soul is right here. Okay, this is where my soul is right here. But I was just laying down. I was like, and I'm just like, how do I get back? How do I get back to my body? But stuff like that. And the message came to me while I was laying down. Get into your soul's purpose. When you get into your soul's purpose, that's when you rise up. It's hard to really get into your soul's purpose under this kind of system. Because even when people are doing something they love, it's really difficult to be around an area with a lot of technology. One guy said it best. I forget his name because it's been so long since I looked at his channel. But he's talking about, do you want to be in Machine City? And a lot of places in this world, like United States, and certain parts of the United States, not all of the United States, because Green Bay, Virginia is not like Machine City. They don't have man-made technology over there because of that telescope that they have. They don't want man-made technology and radio waves interfering with it, right? So you don't have all that. You don't have Machine City, but everywhere else you pretty much have Machine City. And when you're in the area where it's Machine City, you're not able to rise up, and you can get caught in that reset. This is exactly what happened with Atlantis. That allegedly, from what I heard of the story, this is what happened with Atlantis. And I'd rather sacrifice if I have to if I have to compromise my DNA, my health, and my chance of ascending to try to live amongst whatever to live in this system. I'd rather just sacrifice not having. I'd rather just go on and learn to live a very, and my life is already simple. Let me say that. But I'm talking about living in an area where it's off grid, where you might have a compost toilet, where you might have to build a well, and all that. I'm talking about very simple life, but and you have to have solar panels and all kind of stuff for air conditioning, things like that. But the thing is that nothing will cost anything. Everything for the most part, and then you have your own garden. Everything will be for free. The only thing is that you got to be careful moving too far away from people, though. That's the only thing that you have to be careful of, is moving too far from people. But I don't want to be in an area where it's machine city. So I think I want to learn how to make the most high my center. Because at one time, you don't want to move too far from people, especially if you by yourself. And then something happened to you and you don't have it where you can get a good signal of where people can come out and get you, like an ambulance or something, if something happened. But then I don't want to be in machine city. This is machine city, right? And my only other option is probably move to another country that don't have all this going on, and I have a better chance of being very healthy, right? I was looking at a video of this guy talking about how New York is not the same, New York is dead, and all that stuff. And I can see where he's coming from if he's traveled the world. And he says since 2020, New York City, specifically Manhattan, has just gone down. There's no liveliness. It's not alive like it used to be ever since COVID. Yeah, because the COVID killed people. COVID literally killed people. It killed the people. COVID killed the human spirit. In the United States of America, COVID killed the human spirit. That's what it did. And that's why I said I'm gonna have to just learn how to live a simple life. I don't even do a whole lot anyway though. So it's like, it's not gonna be that hard for my life to be very simple. Other than my showers might be a little different, but whatever. It don't take me long to get used to it though. My life is simple anyway. I really don't do a lot. I really don't. So it's not going to be that hard for me. I don't go out. I don't go out on the weekends. I don't do anything. I don't go to parties. I don't go to clubs. I did all that in my 20s. And right now I don't have a desire to do any of it. So it doesn't bother me. I decided I'm going to go on to just learn how to live off grid. And then I have to learn how to, if you guys are talking, I can't see because I'm driving. I'm at a red light right now. So let's see. Yes, we are becoming, a technocrat. Yeah. And even with mobile phones, people have forgotten how to memorize. That is so true. I used to know people's telephone numbers. I used to memorize them. And now you don't know folks' numbers. What else? But yeah, a form of transcendence. Yeah. Hello, Divine. This is the first live I've caught. Hello, Divine Being is actually caught alive. Okay, just reading and catching up because I'm driving, and when I'm driving, I can't look at the comments. But anyway, that's all I just pretty much wanted to say. That it's time for me to go on because this right here, you're going to risk your ascension, messing around with this man-made technology, and then at the same time, they showing you they don't care about you. They're showing you they don't care about people. They don't care. The government, the politicians, the presidents, they're not working for the people. And they show you this every day, the way they just slap you in the face. They give you their butt to kiss. They don't care how you're affected. And it comes a point where you have to learn not to give this type of system any more energy. You got to learn not to give this system any more energy. Okay? But that's all I want to say is that, but you know what else, what I hate about it though? You still have a God of war that's kind of over United States of America, because you have other places where people actually work together and it's not a problem. But when people decide to come together and just detach from the system, and they decide to come together and say, we're going to help each other since they don't want to help us, do you know it's going to be a war, and everything under the sun is going to be done, specifically in the United States of America? Everything under the sun is going to be done to cause division among people, because that's how they thrive out. They're so evil. I just can't tolerate them even being around anymore. I cannot tolerate them being around anymore, and we have the power to make them disappear. We really do. Once we stop relying on the system, we actually more powerful than they are. They're not X-Men. A lot of us are X-Men. They're not the X-Men. They are the Archons that really don't have any creativity. They're using our energy, our power, and everything for what they charge us for. And it's time for that to come to an end. So that's what I'm saying. Everything they're doing is kind of a blessing anyway. But with that being said, I'm about to make my stop, and I'm going to talk to you guys later. Alrighty.